Hi everybody, this is Vincent Jacob and you're on my podcast, Hanging on Sunset. How do you feel, little sunsetters? Are you feeling a little chilly? I know, Thanksgiving's passed and now we're headed to Christmas, and in LA it's a little chilly right now. It feels good actually. A little rain, a little cold, but stay safe because in LA right now it's flu season again and COVID season again, so be careful. During a flight from Paris the other day, my friend David, who's also the owner of our new label, Team Nowhere, listened to the podcast. And when he landed, he called me and said, I figured out what you're doing with the podcast. Of course, I was curious and I inquired, what is it that I am doing with this podcast? What do you think? And with his usual wit, he replied, this is not just an interview, it's a rock and roll psychoanalysis. I laughed a lot, but in retrospect, I think he's right. As an interviewer, I'm always interested in the musical journeys of the artists I speak with. However, I'm also curious about our stories as artists because I think there's a link between personal history and art. The way I see it, art is a chemical reaction that is formed by our upbringing, our environments, private and public, as well as the things that happen in the world. So by asking my interviewers their personal stories, I tried to unfold what led to the creation of their own art. My experience has shown that it begins even before they are born, more often than not. Cosmo Gold are my guests today, and their story traces back to Emily Gold's grandparents. Emily is the singer of the band, and her grandmother was the singer Marni Nixon, who famously dubbed Natalie Wood's singing part in West Side Story, and Audrey Hepburn in My Fair Lady. Her grandfather, Ernest Gold, was an Austrian-born composer who won an Academy Award for his work on the movie Exodus. That's quite a musical heritage. And in Emily's case, her music is even more closely tied to her dad's, Andrew Gold. He was not only a talented musician but also a passionate ufologist, which, as we'll see, had a significant impact on the music of Cosmo Gold. Cosmo Gold embraces Andrew's musical freedom and sci-fi appetite. Their debut album, Krong, is a space odyssey, a pop space odyssey, and also a concept album about a friendly alien who abducted the band and taught them the secret to peaceful civilization. That's what they claim. And the band is grateful to Krong for teaching them the virtue of doubt. And in a world of self-confidence, entitlement, and where feelings take place of facts, it seems wise ended. Yes, I know, I sound like a psychoanalyst again, but we must be doing something good because as I checked my Spotify Wrapped, I realized that our podcast now is in the top 15% of podcasts streamed in the world. I knew that we grew a lot this year and I knew things were doing well, but this was really, good surprise. And I just can't thank you enough for following us, listening to us, and care about the indie artist that we interview and talk to. All right, enough talked, and let's do the show now with Emily Gold and Mike DeLucia from Cosmo Gold. Let's go.
Sweet.
All right. You ready?
Ready.
Hi, everyone. This is Vincent Jacob, and you're on my podcast, Hanging on Sunset. Sorry, I'm just moving around the mic. It wasn't placed very well. So, today I have the pleasure to have Cosmo Gold on the podcast, and I'm very, very happy to have Emily with me today. And Mike, two of the three members of the band. Is that correct?
Yes.
Yep.
Hello.
Okay. And special kudos to all of you two, because you drove a long time in the LA traffic to come here.
That's right.
Thank you so much. And Mike, you were on a plane.
Yes.
Like
Just
an hour ago.
Came straight from the airport.
Okay.
And feeling good. Yeah.
Well,
Thanks for having us.
thank you so much. That means a lot. So, your band, Cosmo Gold, am I pronouncing it correctly?
Yeah.
Cosmo Gold?
Cosmo Gold.
LA-based, alternative pop. Is that okay if I say that?
Yeah.
The band formed in 2019, so it's pretty still new. And what are you doing in the band respectively? Can you tell me?
Yeah, I play guitar and keys and bass in the live band, and I sing.
All right. And you, Mike?
So I play drums, but we have this new live set where I'm playing guitar and bass and keys as well.
Oh, wow.
So I've we kind of all wear a lot of hats in the band.
That's pretty cool.
And singing as well now.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And so you have an album coming, debut album,
Yes.
right?
That's great.
Wrong.
Yes.
That's going to be out on November 11th.
Mm-hmm.
So, and I got the immense pleasure to listen to it last night.
Awesome.
And I loved it.
Thank you.
And it's
Thank you.
a journey, and it's made to be a journey because it's like a concept album.
Yeah.
And then it's actually taking us to somewhere else than the planet we live in, which is pretty cool right now, given
Yes.
what's happening in the world. We need a little escape.
Yeah, that was kind of the motivation. It was like escapism for us when we started writing it in the pandemic, and then we kind of went deeper and deeper into that make-believe world as we went along. So
All right,
escapism is totally the theme.
we're gonna dig into that later. But first, like I always do, I want to start in the early beginning of your lives and
Right.
see before the band even existed, like what was your first musical memory, or what drove you to be a musician. And maybe we can start with you, Emily.
Yeah. It's hard to even pinpoint like the beginning of a musical journey for myself, just because I come from a pretty musical family. My dad was a musician, my grandparents were musicians, and so I just kind of always grew up around it. My dad had a recording studio in the house, so literally there's photos of me in diapers, like sitting at a drum set or like at a recording console. So it was just always something that I was around.
Yeah, it's pretty interesting. You're being a little humble right now, but I think your grandpa won an Academy Award
He did, yeah.
for a score for a movie, right?
For Exodus,
Exodus. Wow. That's
Yeah.
mind-blowing. And your grandma, she was a singer too.
Yeah, you did your research. You
Oh
really
yeah, I
did.
did. And she actually, I was mind blown when I read that she was the voice of Natalie Wood in West Side Story, which
Yep.
is my favorite movie ever.
Oh, amazing, yeah.
I didn't know that.
You didn't know that?
No.
Yeah.
So I knew
Wow.
that some of the voices were dubbed.
Yeah.
And that the actors we see in
It's
the...
all Marni Nixon, my grandmother. Wow. Yeah, My Fair Lady, The King and I, that's
Oh my
all
gosh.
her.
That's amazing. So yes, there's a big family thread of musicians.
Yeah, yeah.
big
And
lineage.
then, so my particular, I grew up doing a lot of like performance and choir and all that, and I wanted to be a singer. And then I kind of, it was kind of like a windy road to kind of finally get to the place where I wanted to write songs and perform. And but yeah, it
that's
started
great.
early.
And when was the first time you ever wrote a song? How old were you?
The first song that I can remember writing was when I was 14, and it was called Purple Skies, which is actually basically Krong.
Yeah. I was gonna say.
But it was like this really sad like piano, so I didn't really play piano, but it was just like, I remember it went, purple skies is what I see when I close my eyes, something will never lie in the purple sky, which is like very almost like it's almost kind of like because I was raised Jewish, and it almost sounds like something we would sing in like temple or something. It has almost like a Jewish folk song melody to it. But yeah, so that was my first song. It's Purple Skies.
It was already escapism to another place.
Exactly,
Purple
yeah.
Skies, yeah.
Yep.
You should include it as like
We should do like a B-side. We should revisit
Ooh.
that.
When
That
you
would
do
actually be
the
sick.
deluxe version of the record.
Yeah. Oh my god.
So what about you, Mike? When did you start doing music and all these instruments?
Yeah, so I don't come from a musical family, but I have an older brother. He's 8 years older than me, and he is a great guitar player. One of the best I know to this day. And I used to just sit outside of his room, when he was a teenager, and I was, just a kid, and just listen for hours, just sitting outside of his door, like, what's he playing? And first grade, I begged my parents to get me a drum set. So I got a drum set in first grade.
Wow.
Yeah. And then my cousin, I remember, poked holes in the heads. And I got really
Oh my god.
mad. And I couldn't play it anymore. So that was like a year. And then I took a break from music. And then in fourth grade, I played the violin in the school band.
Did you really?
Yeah.
I didn't know. I played cello.
Oh, sick.
Oh.
We should think about bringing that back. We should do an
For the
orchestral,
deluxe version?
yeah.
Yes.
You got more ideas.
Yeah.
Exactly.
We're idea people, so put it in the idea
Yes.
bank for later.
I can tell, and that's what I love about your band, because you're like, it's the sense of freedom.
Oh yeah.
Freedom is.
Any idea is a good idea.
It's all valid in Cosmo Gold.
Well, and you're able to do it, and even in the visuals, but we'll get into that. Because
Alright.
I'm very interested in how you made those videos and stuff, because that's pretty cool too.
Thank you.
Cool.
So fourth grade violin.
Fourth grade violin. I played in the orchestra in school until I switched to stand-up bass in eighth grade, and then I played that until sophomore year of high school. Then I started getting into more, rock band instruments. I played bass guitar. I learned Seven Nation Army on guitar in 7th grade, and that was kind of the start. And then, I grew up in suburban New Jersey, and so we would play music in kids' basements and all that kind of all through high school, just kind of
parties in basements with bands playing.
Yeah, pretty much, and not even parties. Just kind of that was the thing to do, because we didn't really have that much going on. There was no venues. There's no anything there, so we. I played we would play at the high school, and we would play in basements, and then I didn't pick up drums though until junior year of high school. I was 17, and I had been in bands all throughout high school, and then it's the classic thing of there's no drummer, and then I was all right, I guess I'll give it a try, and then and then I was playing
since first grade.
Pretty much, yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. So, and then, played drums pretty much as my primary instrument ever since then.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool. And when did you move out to LA?
So I came out here when I was 18.
Okay.
Yeah, I actually went to college at LMU, a little down the street from here. And I was playing music there, but not that much. I had always kind of told myself I just want to play for fun. I don't want to get involved in the music business. But then I just kept playing and playing, and then I was just this is what I want to do. So.
And you were born and raised in LA?
I was born in London, actually. My mom's British.
Okay.
And my dad was from California. They met in London and had me, and then pretty much immediately came to LA after, though.
Okay, so
I grew up here, yeah.
You grew up here, okay.
Mm-hmm. And on the East Coast as well. We were in LA, then we went to Connecticut, and then I actually joined a pop girl group when I was 14, and so I moved back. My parents had split. Dad came back to
a professional?
LA. Yeah.
Do we
we
know
played
it?
at that. Oh, no.
Can we find it?
Oh, I don't think so. I think it's been scrubbed from the internet, but I'm only now in a place where I openly talk about it, because it was
Was
a
traumatic?
little cringy. Not like traumatic,
Oh, okay.
just like not like bad. Like it was bad, but not like that. Like it was just more like cringy.
All
No.
above board.
Yeah.
Well, it doesn't.
But no, we
the
played. But
concept-
it was like we played at the El Rey. Like we had like a
Oh.
big So it was like kind of a big deal for a hot minute, and then so moved back to LA for that.
Wow, so that's your first experience as a musician.
That was my
On
first like
stage.
professional. Well, kind of my on stage. Yeah, I had done some other professional work before that.
Can you elaborate? Or
Yeah, my first ever album credits were my dad wrote an album called Halloween Howls, and actually one of the songs recently went like mega viral
The
on TikTok.
Spooky Skeletons.
Scary skeletons. And so that album, my dad was a musical genius, and like everything he did, he committed like 100% to it. So even this silly little Halloween Howls album, he like produced to the max, like had all of his like famous musician friends play on it. And so my first experience, Andrew Gold, yeah. So my first recording experience was actually singing Ghostbusters on. So I screamed Ghostbusters when I was like 5 years old.
Well, in the actual song?
Not on the original, on the
okay.
Ray Parker Jr. song. No, on the Andrew Gold version. My first professional album credits. And then my family friend had a franchise called Sugar Beats, which was kind of like, do you know, like Kids Bop?
Mm-hmm.
So it was like their like competitor, Sugar Beats, and I sang some stuff on one of their albums.
You've been
as well.
in the business forever.
I guess so, yeah.
And when
Yeah.
did you guys meet?
We met in like 2017.
17? 16? 17. Probably 17, yeah.
Well, I think the first time I met you
At the Fillmore?
I met you at the Fillmore.
Yeah.
San Francisco?
And, yeah.
I was living there at the time. And,
And my now ex was playing in his band that he plays in now, Valley Queen, and they were playing a show at the Fillmore, and we went up there, and Mike had a joint that I smoked, and I got way too high, and that was the first time I met Mike.
Been friends ever since.
Yep.
Good way to bond.
Yeah.
I
You gotta freak out together.
Yeah, that's how I
To
learned
know it's
that
cool.
Mike has really strong weed. Can't handle.
So you're in the band Valley Queen.
Yeah. So Neil, who Emily was just talking about, we met at LMU actually. He was my like neighbor in the dorms freshman year. We had competing bands in college, and then
I didn't know that.
yeah,
I'm
yeah.
learning
Cool.
just as
He
much.
had a band called Mojo Stone. We had a band called Major Large.
What?
Killer names. We competed in the Battle of Bands. My band won, even though their band was like
More successful.
way more successful. And lasted. And then so that band turned into Valley Queen.
Okay.
And then I moved to San Francisco. I was doing some bands up there, playing just mostly local kind of shows. And then basically one day, like Neil, I don't know if he called me or like I saw it on the internet, but they were parting ways with their drummer and gonna start making their debut record, and they needed a drummer, and I was kind of over San Francisco at the time. It was just, San Francisco, we can talk about it. It's an interesting place, but I was done living there pretty much, and I was like, let me try out for the band, and moved down to LA. And
Oh, wow, that's cool.
So I moved down to LA, and we made a record. It's called Supergiant,
And it's a pretty successful band, Valley Queen.
yeah, we've done a lot of touring. I mean, we haven't done too much since the pandemic hit, but we have another record coming out it'll start to come out early next year.
Cool, like singles and stuff.
We released one single from it back in April. It's called Falling, and then the whole record, Court of Sympathy, should be out April this coming year. Yeah.
Nice.
It's
Yeah.
really good.
We'll
it's
have
the
you
same
back.
producer.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
That did Krong.
Neil Vogensen.
So that's
Neil,
Neil.
yeah.
Yes.
So Neil is my ex, and so that's the
Oh,
connection. Yeah.
Yeah, same Neil.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
So he plays bass in Valley Queen. He's the one from that I had known since Loyal and Marymount days, and then that's how I met Emily. I moved to LA, and then basically eventually like a year later we all started living in this house in Highland Park.
That's amazing.
It's
I
like
love that.
the crappiest mansion you ever.
Still
it was
mansion?
wild. It's a mansion, but it's like a shit mansion.
Yeah,
It's like crumbling,
With
but it's
holes
amazing.
in the roof.
we found this
Literally-
place on Craigslist. It's like
We have a song on the album about it, Craigslist Miracle.
Yeah.
It's about the house.
I wanted to
That's
ask
about
about
the
that.
house.
That's about the house. It was
Just
a
the
magical
title.
place.
Just
Yeah.
the title.
So
It
yeah,
was
it was
literally
like
a Craigslist
yeah.
Miracle.
it's falling
Super
apart.
cheap rent, like huge. It was amazing. We had really great times there.
Oh, that's amazing. So you started the band after you moved in altogether?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, well, it was like a continuation. So I had a project called Velvet that I started in like 2015 or 16, I think. And so that band was really just me for a while with like a rotating cast of kind of like hired guns playing my songs. And then we started playing together and it became more collaborative as we went on. And the band kind of stopped rotating and it kind of stayed the same people. Or wait, we recorded the album for the EP before you were in it. But you helped write Drown the Fly with us.
Yeah. It was in like a middle.
Yeah, so it just started to become kind of
thing,
more
yeah.
like a band rather than my project. And so we recorded an EP that, so
Drawn the Fly?
Drown the Fly was on there with some other songs that were kind of like left over from Velvet. But Drown the Fly was the first song that was really like
it was
the
the
band.
first single that you put
Yeah.
out.
Yeah, and that was the song that was kind of the first where it was like the four of us we had a fourth member at one point, Peter, who that was like the first song that we kind of really all wrote together. And then when it came time to put the EP out, we had been playing shows together as the four of us for a while, and we just kind of decided it was its own new thing. It wasn't Velvet anymore. And the sound started to change, and it was just very much a band at that point rather than me plus some musicians. So it evolved into a different thing. So we changed the name to Cosmo Gold, and yeah, that was 2019.
But Cosmo Gold, it's still you.
Cosmo Gold
So
is...
there is a funny.
Yeah,
it really is.
It is. It's almost an alter ego that we've all kind of taken on. But yeah, so my name is Emily Gold, and when my mom was pregnant with me, my dad wanted to name me Cosmo if I was a boy, because my dad was like obsessed with space, and my mom would have never allowed it anyways. But she wanted to name me Josh, but he wanted to name me Cosmo. So we kind of like had a million different names, like pretty bad band names that we tried on, and eventually.
Well, we picked one, and then we were like, no, actually, let's do Cosmo.
Was Major Large back?
No,
Major Large wasn't bad.
That's
but
retired.
honestly, Major Large is better than what we had on there. Jump Suite, was that the one that we almost chose?
That was one of them. Yeah.
Jump Suite was one of them.
I don't know.
Hulk Lozenge. Anyways, I won't bore you with the details.
I like that. That's the kind of details I love.
Yeah, so anyways, that's the story behind Cosmo Gold, but I feel like it's become like more than like just like a name. It kind of like has like this alter ego that's kind of like spacey, kind of otherworldly alter ego that we've all kind of taken on.
Yeah, I like that, and yeah, you really embraced that that image of space and alternate universes and
we're leaning
aliens
into it.
and it traces back to your dad, like you said, that was in love with space and like
he was a ufologist.
He was a ufologist.
Yeah.
Like he was
or
studying.
Aspiring. I don't know exactly what stage.
Doesn't it go further than that?
Oh
in the
yeah.
family? Like
So we actually used as props in one of the music videos there. I got these magazines from these like pamphlets like about UFOs and kind of like like what's the word I'm looking for? Just kind of like metaphysical stuff in general. Like there's all these pamphlets that I got from I believe my great grandmother on my dad's side.
They're old. They must be from what, like the 40s?
Yeah. They're really old. And
really
they're
silly.
props in the Tough Stuff video, actually. You see the alien, gold men, Golods, we're calling them, reading those. So they came from my great-grandmother, who was really into just like metaphysical stuff in general, which at that time, like women weren't really, people in general weren't super into that stuff as far as I know, especially women. So I think she also kind of lost her mind a little bit. But anyways, yeah, so the fascination with aliens and space and just kind of like the unknown is a bit of like a family tradition.
And you've been kidnapped yourself?
We were kidnapped earlier this year, yeah, so now we're back to tell the tale.
Can you tell us about that traumatic story, kidnapping that happened during the pandemic by a group of pyramid dwellers because you stumbled on their secrets of ancient universe? Is that correct?
Yeah, that's correct. Yeah. It's hard to talk about, but we can do it.
What can you say about this?
Well, I think what we the most important lesson that we learned and what we aim to the message we were instructed to share with everyone is to embrace doubt, because you can follow your intuition, but sometimes your intuition is actually your ego, and it's important to sometimes live within the unknown for a second while you figure it out.
Doubt
is
as a virtue.
Doubt as a virtue.
Yes, thank you for correcting my pronunciation. It's funny because it reminds me of the opposite of what's happening on Earth right now, you know? Like people full of egos, like stating stuff.
Yeah, well, yeah, confidence is a positive thing, of course, but when it's all confidence and no one's taking a second to think about what they're saying, sometimes that is a problem.
Yes, and I think it's I actually read about this in one of your interviews, and I was really, really fascinated by this being the core message of the album, and I'm being serious right now. Because it is highly philosophical for me, and that's the core virtue of philosophy when you think about it. You need to start doubting about everything. I guess that's what René Descartes, the French philosopher, did when he started doubting about the whole world and everything around, and started building his knowledge again based on doubt. But you can trace this back to, I'm a major in philosophy, so I'm just showing off right now. To the antiquity, with the first philosophers that we have writing of, they were like skeptists. I don't know how to say that in English, actually. I'm realizing I never...
Skeptics. Yeah, skeptics. I had to think about it.
And also, this made me think of... because you said it's the album explores the theme of extreme relativism. So I wanted you to elaborate on that, because I think it's tied to the idea of doubt.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I think that's just more like... For me, I think I've always been interested in writing songs about kind of like the in-between of moments and feelings. And I think when you do that, like when you really observe, like rather than just like this happened, or like I felt this, or, very kind of like the A point and the B point of a moment or a feeling, like when you live in that middle ground, like you see that like no kind of feeling or situation is necessarily like better or worse than the other. It's all just kind of like part of like the human experience. And so perspective, yeah. So I just mean relativism in the sense that like kind of just like holding like experiences or feelings like without judgment, and not assigning like this is good or this is bad to those things. And so like I think Krong, the whole essence of Krong is kind of very Zen in that way, where it's kind of just like not having like attachment to feelings, really.
Yeah, that's a good message for nowadays world. I would say, like Yeah, because we can say every day in the news, like people are being, they have feelings, and suddenly it becomes like solid as.
Yeah, like it's fact.
Yeah,
but
as a fact.
Yeah, and feelings change, and not that feelings are bad or that intuition is bad or anything like that. It's more just about like questioning reality and questioning yourself.
Distancing yourself from your emotion just to make sure.
Yeah, just to make sure you feel that way. Because sometimes, I mean, I personally I can be very easily triggered, and like, the whole Krong was really sparked by a situation where I was like really triggered, and I really committed to a feeling that ended up, my feeling was correct in the end, actually, but like I went through a lot of like but it wasn't almost worth the collateral damage of really committing to that feeling, which was anger, and then also committing to the feeling of like when I felt bad about getting angry, and then I was like, oh, I'm so sorry, and then committing to that feeling, because then I also didn't really believe in that when all was said and done. So it's just about kind of like, taking a beat and observing yourself objectively,
Yeah, because when you're triggered, if you react in the moment, your vision of what's happening can be blurred by the feeling, and then taking a little bit of distance to it. I know it's easy to say that, but sometimes just time will help, like distance yourself from that. And then when the emotions start to fade a little bit, and you have a clearer vision, I guess. Maybe.
Yeah. The hook in Krong is it's a passing feeling, and it's the whole idea of like watching feelings go by like clouds. Like that's something you're taught in like therapy. Like if you have anxiety, like me, you're taught to like view your emotions as clouds that are going by. Like there might be a big scary gray cloud that goes by, but it doesn't mean that it's
I can relate
it's gonna
to
pass
a lot, because I used to suffer from severe panic attacks.
Yeah.
And in this moment when these things happening, it's really like that. What you just described, it's a cloud, a fog, brain fog,
and it's hard to see outside of it.
Yeah, and you're like lost and confused in that moment, and you cannot think about anything else, and it's just. Like you said, you have to learn to be zen and relax and distance yourself from
trying. It's a non-stop kind of process, but trying.
So ancient aliens taught you how to distance yourself from their emotions.
Exactly.
Nice. So you got to listen to the album to get the recipe. It works, I'm telling you. So can you tell us about how this whole record started, and what was the process, and how did you start working? Because so first song 2019, then the first EP 2019, but and then it took a while to get to today.
Yeah.
So what happened?
Well, I mean, we were working on it pretty much immediately. Like we wrote Craigslist Miracle, for example, like in the summer of 2019. So some of these songs are really. Yeah. I mean, what happened is really the pandemic.
Pandemic
is what happened.
But I mean, some of the Craigslist, Krong.
Yeah, we played all those songs in 2019 at a show.
Yeah, we played those. Tough stuff. They were all kind of different, though. We had a bit of a different.
And actually, I saw
about it.
A live performance that you put on YouTube.
Oh yeah, Krong Begins.
Yeah, Krong Begins.
Yes.
Some of the songs were on the.
Yeah. So we made that. I mean, pretty much during the lockdown. So that was early 2020. We were pretty well into working on the record. We probably had more than half of the songs written by then. And we were trying to do these pandemic Zoom concerts.
I know.
Shout out to Jam Kazam.
Oh God.
Which is a program that
we weren't able to figure it out.
Old man tried to get us to use to stream a concert. Anyway, horrible. I'm so glad we have real concerts again.
Yeah, same.
So we were doing these for a little bit. Instagram lives. We did a little tiny desk thing that we tried to do. Anyway, the main event was this Krong Begins. We filmed it in our backyard at
the mansion.
mansion.
And everyone in there were housemates, well, except for our bass player, but everyone singing. Yeah. That was the house.
Yeah, we had background singers were our roommates.
Yeah.
Oh, that's so cool.
The producer Neil was recording
it.
it in his little hut in the back of the house.
Yeah,
That he had a little recording booth.
And I engage everyone to go see that performance. It was pretty cool. And Emily, you edited it.
I did.
In a way that's really fun.
Yeah, I really lost my mind on that one.
Yeah.
But you had a lot of time.
I had the time, so.
And that was kind of the start of your editing journey, because now Emily has made all of our music videos so far during this Krong cycle.
And they're pretty cool.
And
thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was, I taught myself to edit
and,
with Krong Begins.
Oh, that's so cool. Yeah, you directed every video and they're so like DIY, and I love it. Like,
thanks.
Like you built a little TV set and there's you inside like a flying saucer, like going through the clouds, and it's...
Yeah, I made like a mini set.
No, it's amazing. Do you know Michel Gondry, the director?
I don't.
He's
it
a
sounds
French
familiar.
director with... maybe I should say it with the English accent.
What?
Michel Gondry. He made a few movies that are quite famous, and like Be Kind Rewind, or music videos for the White Stripes. You know, like very creative videos, like with the kick, like that's going on.
Oh yeah.
All around. So.
Oh, that's cool.
Which one? Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind. I forgot about that movie.
Of course.
Yeah.
That's a great film.
So I had that vibe of Michel Gondry when I watch your videos, because you can tell it's, you know, you're not trying to hide that it's like arts and craft in a way.
Yeah.
And then that's what I love about it, because it like
it's very like Plan 9 from outer space, like shitty
sci-fi. Ed Wood.
I was like, it's gonna look shitty because I'm making it myself, so I'm gonna lean into how shitty it looks.
And that's the beauty of it, because the emotions I got watching your music videos is like when you're a child and you're building your own universes in your head, and I think that's
literally like the essence of making this album. Like you nailed it on the head, like in terms of what it was like when we started making the pandemic. And then like I always say, like we just like yes-anded each other. Like we kept being like you know when you like are a kid and you like tell a story that you just like make up as you go along, like that was how we made this album. Like we kept just being that was exactly we were just like, well, what if like then Krong goes to like there's like a rainforest part of Krong, and what would that sound like? And like, you know, and we're just like, no idea was about it. Like we explored all the ideas.
Oh, so you tied the music to the story.
The visuals, pretty much right away. Even though like none of the songs are explicitly about like we're traveling to space now and there's aliens, like they all centered around this theme of like embracing doubt, and then we were just kind of playing make-believe like we were kids. Like it really, like I haven't felt that kind of like creative freedom since I was a kid, honestly. Like it was so fun and so easy, but we never like any point were like, we're gonna write a concept album. It just kind of happened as we were making it, and we kept being like creating all these like different characters. Like we were just telling the story as we went along, and like that's literally how we made it. And then the visual stuff happened as we were making it, and then I think I've been attempting to recreate like that stuff in the videos like after the fact.
Oh, that's amazing. And the result is a colorful album, so another, you know, tied to childhood.
Thank you.
That's really the feeling, like the candor in a way, naivety, but in a good way.
Yeah.
Like that. But it's not a
curiosity.
It's not a simple album, because the music and especially the drumming is fucking amazing.
Yeah, it's true.
I would say, I don't know if you would agree with that, but the drums are the main instrument in this record. That's what I felt when I was listening to it, and I really wanted to congratulate you all in like incorporating that and making such an interesting music, even though it's still pop and catchy and accessible to everyone. But at the same time, I felt like listening to it's different, but the same feeling King Gizzard and Lizard Wizard, like the sense of freedom and creativity that's flowing.
Yeah.
I think they've done like they just released their 23rd record.
Yeah.
I think they could do something like that.
Yeah. Yeah, so, Mike really went crazy on some of those songs on the drums. Like some really I got some good videos of him just absolutely shredding in the studio.
What are you incorporating in your music? What? Because I had a hard time like comparing to any other like music that I listen to. I thought about stuff. I thought about kind of a newer version of Bjork. You know, kind of.
Cool.
Like, I mean, it doesn't sound like it, but that the kind of artist that came to mind when I was listening to your record. Oh, and also the French band Air.
Oh yeah, we love Air.
So I think
that was definitely one of ours.
A mix of Bjork and Air. That's what I thought.
I love that.
That's cool.
Yeah. Yeah, we have a lot of influences.
Yeah, we definitely didn't try to like limit to one certain style. I mean, I think we had, you know, songs that we were like, this is like a Strokes song, or like this is like like Air.
We have a Steely Dan moment.
We wanted to do like a
moments.
70s studio, you know,
Like you
song,
said, there are moments.
Yeah, even like we wanted to do like almost like a electronic like breakbeat style music. We wanted to do, you know,
Sylvan Esso, like more contemporary
synth driven.
And that last
everything.
song with the like epic piano.
Yeah. That was our Steely Dan song.
Yeah.
With Paul
Schaefer.
I know him for being on Letterman, like music guy. How did that happen, by the way?
So Paul Schaefer, I knew him because of my dad. They were friends, and but I hadn't. They were pretty close with us growing up in Connecticut because they lived on the East Coast, and I hadn't really talked to him for a while. And then we were just sitting around. Like, I wrote the song on piano, and I had only just started playing piano at the time, and we were like, well, maybe for this song we should get someone who's like really kind of like a virtuoso, someone who's like really gonna like. They were like, Emily, you're fine, but like let's get a real piano player. And so we're like, who's the best piano player we know? And so we're just sitting, and I was like, well, technically, like the best piano player I know is Paul Schaefer. And we're all just thinking that it was really funny. Like, let's just hit him up because like. He probably won't do it.
It was a joke.
It was a joke. Like we were like, there's no way he'll do this. But he got back within like 24 hours and was like, I would love to do it. And he was so cool, and it was great because he actually kind of like we kind of reconnected like our families. So
nice.
So our parent, like my mom and his wife, and we've been hanging out more, and so it was kind of like
That's
a nice
cool.
reconnection. But yeah, it was really like a once in a lifetime experience in the studio with him. I mean, he's just like, he came in and like
Brilliant.
listened one time to the song and then just like did his thing, and it was like he was playing things that I would have never imagined. Like, it was the most beautiful thing I'd ever heard. And so that was like a really, really cool moment for us.
Wow. The Steely Dan song.
Yeah. Well, that was the idea. It was a song that was so kind of I specifically wrote it in a style that I was like, this could be like a song like a 70s, like my dad. Like, it was kind of like an homage to my dad. And I was like, so maybe what we should do is like try to get someone from one of his, peers to play on it.
That's amazing. You paid an amazing tribute to your dad with that whole
Thank
record
you.
and the sci-fi odyssey.
Thank you. Yeah, I felt like I channeled him. He passed away. I don't know if you knew that, but he passed away. So it definitely felt like there was some channeling going on with all that. I felt him a lot in the recording process, I think.
I think it's a beautiful thing that you guys have made. So congratulations again on this record. And
thank you. And you should also, the podcast will be out after this, but this Sunday you should come to our Krongoween party.
Yes, we have like a...
Tell me about that.
About Krongoween.
I know we're going to air this after, but can you explain? Because I read it's like an immersive experience.
Yeah.
What's happening?
So, yeah, I mean, we just wanted to, so it's a listening party. The album's not out till November 11th, but this is just, we're going to play it ahead of time for people to...
Permanent Record Roadhouse?
At Permanent Records Roadhouse, and basically it's going to be just like you'll be able to kind of walk through Krong. Like there'll be a light show. There's going to be a visual. I made a video that kind of like runs through it. It's almost like an art show of Krong, basically. There's like a portal. You walk into another dimension. Yeah. It's going to be sick.
I mean, so throughout this process, we've made a lot of kind of silly little bits of this world. Like we have a commercial, we have a phone line that you can call up.
Oh wow.
We have a, what else did we do?
Wait, we should say what the phone number is, because no one calls it, because they don't. Every time people see it, they're like, "Is that a real phone number?" I'm like, "Yes, call it. Let's see what happens."
Can I call it
now?
now?
We have an
Wait, you should call it actually.
Can I call it now?
Yeah.
During the podcast.
I think you should.
Let's go. It's on your Instagram.
Yeah,
right?
it's 510-90-KRONG.
Okay, let me do that.
It's just a Google number that they.
510.
No, it's legit.
510.
No, it's a real number. Google numbers, it's real.
What is it?
90-KRONG.
90 Krong.
KRONG. Krong.
You did idea wrong.
510-90-KRONG?
I think I did that.
I think it takes a second.
510-90-5
510-90.
Krong. Yeah. 57664.
Yes. Huh. Well, that's not good.
Wait, 5? That's too many.
You have reached the voicemail box of... Please make a selection from the following menu. Press 1 to receive the right intercom. Press 2 to find out what's at the top of the unit. Press 3 to live a life with no expectations. Press 4 to give me all your money. Give me all your money. Thank you. Have a nice life. Please leave a message after the tone.
Hi, Krong. This is Vincent. Can you abduct me? Because I'm tired of this world.
Yes.
All right. Well,
There it is.
That's our
thank
call
you so
center.
much.
Yeah.
Mike and Emily, is there anything you want to add?
No, I think we'd want to plug our show again. It's an album
Oh, yeah.
release show. The album comes out November 11th.
Mm-hmm.
You can stream it everywhere. We also have a vinyl pre-sale.
Nice.
The vinyl is beautiful. It's going to
Mm-hmm.
be really cool, but we can't make it until we get some pre-sales. So
Yeah, we can't afford
go
it until
on
people order
our
it.
Bandcamp and you can find that.
All right.
Important.
That's pretty cool. Well, thank you so much. And
Thank you.
now we're going to be listening to you live because you're going to perform a song for us.
Yes.
And what's the song?
Krong.
Krong.
Of course.
What
Yeah.
else?
So we're going to play Krong, the stripped down version of it. And what song of the album can we add at the end of the podcast?
Should it be the same song? Is that weird?
No,
or?
well, you can.
I mean,
whatever.
I like that one. What do you think? Should we do some? It would be cool because then we got the stripped down version, then we got the
full-
hyped up version. Let's
double,
Yeah,
double,
sure.
Double
dose,
Krong.
That's
double
cool.
Krong.
do
Let's
double
do it.
Krong.
Right now. Oh, hanging out sunset.
Made you a victim of embellishment. Words are knives that cut through time. There's no fixing it. I went too far and in it all to my sleeve. Once when the feeling tries to the rise, blood on the table, tears in your eyes. It's a passing feeling. Once if the head was 2 steps behind, the wind was a loss and not for an eye. It's a passing feeling. No, I don't wanna bet it all on a passing feeling. No, not friends after all. Oh, it's a passing feeling.
twice for the rise. Blood on the table, tears in your eyes. It's a passing feeling. One step ahead was 2 steps behind. The wind was a loss and not pouring out. It's a passing feeling. No, 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 I don't wanna bet it all on a passing feeling. No, 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 not friends after all. Oh, it's a passing feeling. Once for the feeling, twice for the rise. It's a passing feeling. Once for the healing, twice for goodbye. It's a passing feeling. It's a passing feeling. It's a passing feeling. It's a passing feeling.
Alright, stay with us now because we have a double dose of Krong. You're gonna be able to listen to the studio version now, so you can compare it and see the real musicianship that lies behind the band Cosmo Gold. So here it is, Krong again, the album version.
Made you a victim of embellishment. Words are knives that cut through time. There's no fixing it. Sunset.